Welcome to Biters. This is Diane.
And this is Marnell. And for once, I don't have a snarky comment because we have something better than that. What do we have, Diane?
Well, first, we would like to welcome Tom O'Mara.
Hey, everyone.
Tom, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. It's been a busy couple of weeks, but it's going great.
You have definitely had a busy couple of weeks, and you have done us a tremendous honor tonight. So
yes, I have.
Why don't you fill people in on what you did for us?
Well, we have a very, very, very special guest. You'd know her as Amy from The Walking Dead. Emma Bell is joining us.
Yay, Emma!
Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's so good to be on here. Thank you guys so much for having me.
First up, Emma, I just wanted to say congratulations. I don't know if Marnell and Dianne know this, but your directorial film just won Best Picture in New York City, didn't it?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's actually my second short that I've directed, but the first that I've written as well as directed. So that's extra special for me. And it is a short film, and actually the Walking Dead community, I think, would really love it because it's a dark fairy tale. I was really inspired by Pan's Labyrinth, which is one of my favorite all-time movies, and I wanted to do a story about belief systems and children and their, grief. So it's a story around a family dealing with their grief and the stories that they tell themselves to get through it. And there's this sort of very fantastical element to it. So I'm so honored because it premiered at the Chelsea Film Festival, and I actually won the top prize, as you just mentioned, and won Best Short, which was crazy. There was 80 shorts there, and I just feel so grateful and honored that it even went, let alone won. So
Emma, what's it called, and how can those of us who are way out in the hinterlands access it?
Well, it's called Between the Pines, and right now I'm not releasing it online yet because I did just sort of start my festival run, but I definitely want to somehow figure out a way to get it distributed at some point. And I'm also developing it into a TV show, so hopefully that will be on just regular TV. But if you wanted to check out a trailer for it, people can go to my website, which is emmabellfilm.com. And if you scroll down, you can see my first shorts up there too. It's called Scratch, which the Walking Dead community would also love because it's actually a straight up horror short. And then just below that is the trailer for Between the Pines. So there you go.
I will make it a point to post links to both of those tonight on Biters page.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think everyone would really love it. Yeah. Cool.
Well, now, I know Diane has questions. Emma, you and I have met so many times before, but I'm sure Diane has a lot for you here.
Go for it. I'm here for you.
All right. So the question that I really want to ask you is, talk to me about the episode Tell It to the Frogs. That's one of my favorite episodes, and I especially love the scene down at the quarry.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if you have any particular memories of that episode that stand out for you.
Oh man, I mean,
I know it was a long time ago.
No, it's like so that whole experience from episode 1 to episode 5 for me is so vivid in my mind. There were so many wonderful things that happened, and just sometimes you go through life and you're like, oh, what happened on that day? And then there are other moments in your life where you remember every detail. that is definitely, obviously, one of my favorite episodes as well, because there is that beautiful quarry scene, and we shot in an actual quarry. Like, it's all Walking Dead, at least in the first season, was all practical. There was nothing really, except for maybe downtown Atlanta being infested by zombies. Outside of that, most everything we did on that first season was practical, so when they had us in a quarry, we were in a friggin' quarry, like, hundreds of feet away from any shoreline, really. So that was just so wonderful, because Laurie Holden, honestly, and I, we really took the sister bonding aspect of the characters, and we really wanted to develop that. So we hung out outside of the set. We got lunch together. We'd walk down the streets of Atlanta together. And with that scene in particular, we wanted to showcase the fact that even though we were sisters, we kind of grew up in two separate households, in a sense, because our father raised us to be completely different people. And that was not because, he changed necessarily, but because he could recognize that his two daughters were just, very different in how that they saw the world. And Amy, I think, unfortunately, this got her in the end, but Amy was such an optimistic, realist, idealistic and optimistic person. And I think the idea of killing something was just the most horrific idea that could come to her. So her dad let her throw the fish back, versus Andrea, she's more of she ends up being a sharpshooter, and she's a lawyer, and she's all about arguments and fire. And so her dad, or our characters' dads, recognized that she could be a little bit of a killer and could stomach that. So it was just such a beautiful way. And again, props to Frank Darabont, because he wrote that.
Well, now
in that beautiful way of showcasing that.
In that quarry, didn't you tell Stephen Young that the show was going to be a huge hit? It reminded you of Lost.
Yeah, I mean, I told everybody that on set. I don't remember if it was exactly that episode, but I remember when we were all on set. And, you never know on a TV show what's going to happen, or if it's going to be successful. But I remember having a conversation with everyone, and I was sort of looked at them and I was like, you guys, this is such a big deal, right? This is a giant deal, right? And they're like, we don't know, who knows? Maybe it won't get picked up, or maybe it'll get canceled after our first season. And I was like, no. I'm a giant Lost fan, and Lost has just ended. And you're going to get those people who need a show, plus you're going to get the horror community, plus this had a comic book following. I was like, you guys don't even know how successful this is going to be. So I guess I was a little bit of the first person to really at least say it out loud if they were thinking it. But yeah, I mean, there's so many wonderful memories. Jeff DeMunn, I remember eating oranges with Jeff DeMunn in between takes. He loved to go to craft services and get oranges and bring them back, and we'd peel these oranges and just sit in the camper. And it was such a surreal time, because on one hand you've got people walking around in legit zombie outfits and makeup and terrifying. And then you're playing this kind of post-apocalyptic world, and it's all around you, because it was a set. It was a giant set that we were on in a real forest on the edge of a quarry. It was just crazy. And so I have so many wonderful, wonderful memories from that show.
Is that when you really felt like this is going to be huge? That was the first time it really dawned on you?
No, I remember the moment it dawned on me actually was right after I booked it. I'm originally from New York City, and I actually booked it while I was living in Los Angeles, but I went back to New York City and a week after I booked it or something. And I was sitting down in Union Square Park with one of my best girlfriends, and she sort of was asking me how pilot season went. And I was like, oh, I actually booked a show this year. I'm really excited about it. You never know. It's and she's like, oh, what's the name of it? And I said, oh, it's a zombie show. It's called The Walking Dead. And we were eating lunch at the time, and she just spit everything out of her mouth. And she looked at me and she was like, did you just say The Walking Dead? And I was like, yeah. Have you heard of it? I had never, to be fair, guys, I'd never actually heard of it. And so I was like, I don't know. It's a zombie thing. And she's like, oh, I know what The Walking Dead is. The Walking Dead is my favorite comic book of all. You're on The Walking. I can't believe you're on the, and she full on like had a conniption in the middle of Union Square about how important this comic book story was to her. And I think that was my first moment where I was like, oh shit, oh, I see, this is like pop culture kind of thing. So that was like the first moment. And then of course, yeah, stepping on set and seeing how dedicated everybody was, and you know, talking to Frank, who like always wears Hawaiian t-shirts on sets. He's like the nicest guy, and but he's just like this serious, you know, such a serious writer and a serious director, and such a heavyweight in the industry. That was pretty surreal as well.
Now so, for you two Alaskan women, just so you know, Union Square in New York City, someone having a conniption would not stand out.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's true. Union Square is sort of full of zombies itself. But anyway, a very public space is where I'm getting with that.
We're both huge hicks, as you can probably tell. So
no, I can't at all. What part of? Do you say you're from Alaska?
So Marn is in Juneau, which is the capital, and I am in Willow, which is about an hour and a half north of Anchorage.
Okay. Wow. I've never been to Alaska, but I would love to go.
It's wonderful.
We actually dubbed ourselves the Real Alaskan Housewives.
Oh my God. Yes. Thank you. Someone needed to. And it's you guys.
And you know I'm in New York.
Yes, I know you're in New York. Yep.
But you're an honorary Alaskan housewife.
Oh, I love that, Tom. That's great. Housewife, though.
We could totally talk your ear off about The Walking Dead, but we're inviting you on tonight because we want to hear about what is going on for you right now.
Oh,
so Tom told us about Nice Trick.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really exciting. It's sort of a little bit of a departure from the other things that I've done, like the horror short and the dark fairy tale, but it still has my kind of what I'm hoping will be my signature, which is a bout of magical realism in it. But it's a rom-com, but it's about a 30-something-year-old struggling actress living in Los Angeles on the verge of giving up on her dreams. But then she meets this magician, and his whimsical outlook on life kind of tricks her into believing in herself again. So at its core, it's a story about that age that we all find ourselves in at some point or another, where, you know, we've come to this crossroads in our life, and we really have to ask ourselves like some pretty sad and hard questions, like, what am I doing? And should I continue doing the thing that makes me happy, even though it doesn't make me any money, or et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, I'm cooking chicken. You know, that I feel like that's a very common experience people have in their life, you know, where we just sort of have to grow up, or like society tells us to grow up, right? And I've been in that place personally as an actress. It's been, even though I've been on shows like The Walking Dead and Dallas and Final Destination 5, et cetera, I still hit times in my career where like I don't work for a very long time, and life is continuing around me, and I really have to figure out why I still do it. You know, I have to like reconnect to like what it is that I love. And it's so hard to do that. And I feel like we have a lot of negative voices around us all the time, whether it be coming from ourselves or from, you know, jobs or other people in our lives. And I just really wanted to write something that sort of, I don't know, inspired people to continue to take hold of that magic that we have inside of us. So that's effectively what this movie is about. And more importantly, it's also very female empowerment driven. So my goal with it behind the camera is to have, you know, at least 50%, if not, you know, up to 100% all women crew, because it's not something that you see a lot in Hollywood. In fact, the amount of women in crews is shockingly low. And so, you know, I really want to be a voice for that as well, and lift up as many female perspectives as we can. And for this story, that's really important to me, is the female perspective of this journey. So that's Nice Trick, and we're in the middle of a crowdfunding project to kind of get the development funds rolling. So anyone can go, if this interests anyone, they can go check it out. It's at www.nicetrickthemovie.com. We're actually in our final week. We're almost 80% funded, which at that point we get to keep all the contributions. But we're going for 100% funded. So any contribution helps. And I'm so excited because I just can't wait to get this story out there. It's going to be so awesome. If anyone is a fan of Benny and June, do you guys remember that movie?
Oh,
Benny
yeah.
and June?
I
Johnny
love that
Depp.
movie.
Yes, it's like very Benny and June-esque. It's got a lot of that. It was like a big inspiration for me. So yeah, check it out.
So we
And
posted
what was
Oh, go
the
ahead.
website? The website one more time was.
Oh sure. It's hold on. Sorry.
Oh, get the chicken out first.
Sorry, the chicken needs to come out, you guys. It's time. Do you hear it sizzling? Okay. The website is www.nicetrickthemovie.com.
And we will put that link up on Biters as well so people can see that and can help get this movie produced.
So
I really appreciate that.
I've actually put the link up on Biters Podcast. If you cannot donate, please like and share it so that other people can find out about it and maybe they can support it. But
absolutely.
Biters Podcast did donate $50, so we would encourage everybody out there to donate just a little bit because you are 71% to your goal. So just 9% to go.
Oh, I think with the $50 you get a selfie with Emma. Or a selfie of Emma.
Yes.
You do get a selfie. What else do you get at $50? I feel like you get a little bit more than that. Thank you guys so much for that.
Absolutely.
I didn't even know that was such a nice little perk. Thank you.
Yeah, there are a lot of perks on that website. So everybody's got to check it out to see the perks.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. If you can't contribute financially, you can absolutely share the message and follow and like it, and we'll keep you updated, and it's going to get made one way or the other, so it's all appreciated.
Well, Marn, do you have any questions? You haven't really gotten a word in edgewise because I've been hogging the conversation.
No, I really don't have any questions. I just want to say that I have been I've watched your promo for it, and I've been through the website and everything. And did you actually? I do have a question. Did you design all of the stuff that's on the website?
You mean the images and stuff?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it, and I just have to tell Dianne because she didn't know who Lizzo was 2 weeks ago.
What?
Wow, throw her under the bus.
The $50 pledge actually has a GIF of Lizzo in it, so that's
it does.
What probably kind of what inspired me to go to 50. So
yes,
yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. Lizzo to the rescue again. Lizzo she is my spirit animal. I love her. I've loved her for so long. I'm so glad that people are finally catching on to her. She's amazing. Has she made your life way better?
Absolutely. Have you seen the Lizzo Cats? The Aristocrats Lizzo mashup?
No. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's adorable. You have to go on YouTube and find Aristocats. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm going to do that.
Emma,
awesome.
are you still singing?
Oh, you're so sweet. He came to see a show of mine. Well, it was a show of my
I invited you to the show.
You were the one. That's right, because you're the guy who ran the bar.
Yeah, yes.
Guys, it was a long time ago.
Oh, this must have been at Bar 9.
Yeah,
Bar
it was
9
Bar 9.
in New York. That's right. That's right. You know what? It's funny because one of the givebacks is a personalized jingle created by me and my brother. So I do still sing, but I don't sing. You know, my brother's the professional musician. He's actually composing on the film. He's an amazing composer as well, but he's got a really wonderful kind of vibe about him as a singer and a performer as well. I do his backup. I love singing. My dream job as an actress would be to be in some sort of musical. And I haven't given up Broadway dreams, but I'm not, I don't do it as my primary thing.
Well, the musical will have to be the next crowdfunded project.
Right? Yeah.
Behind the Pines, the musical.
Yeah. Hey, I think there could be a musical to Between the Pines. Why not? Kind of like Danny Elfman. Oh, if Danny Elfman could score it.
Oh my God, I love Danny Elfman.
I might be able to help you with that one.
Oh, right, you do have that connection.
I'm actually good friends with Jenna.
Oh wow, small world. Tom, we'll talk.
Well, Emma, I have one more question because we always note this when we see it in somebody's acting history. What was acting on Law and Order like?
Which time, ladies?
You were on SVU twice, right?
I was on SVU twice, I know. And I think I was on a different Law and Order as well. Criminal Intent?
Very
good.
You were on the one, oh no, it wasn't Law and Order. There was one that took place in Boston where you were at a zombie convention.
Wow, yes, that's right. That's crazy. That was a weird one. Well, listen, Law and Order is like a bread and butter kind of job for New York-based actors.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of my first ever jobs when I lived in New York City. When I was starting out in New York City, I had actually auditioned for the lead guest spot of the particular episode, and the role went to Amanda Seyfried.
Oh.
We are very kind of similar, and so they called me back, and they're like, "Well, we've given that role away, but would you also be in the episode, but just in a smaller role?" And of course, I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I had this really, I think I was just in one scene the first time, and it was great because I worked with Mariska and Detective Stabler, who he was the most delightful and funny guy, like so funny. And Mariska is also like a powerhouse of a lady. She knows exactly what she wants. She's obviously now like that show is just like an institution, and she's the queen of it. But they were super lovely to me the first time I got on, and then the second time was like literally 10 years later, and they offered me this job, this episode, where it was almost like a Woody Allen type episode, and like the Woody Allen guy was being played by Bradley Whitford.
Oh, wow.
And he was married to my character's sister, who was older than me, but then he kind of whisked me off to Paris, and I was like this up-and-coming actress or whatever. So that was like a fun character too, because I got to mostly act with Bradley, and he is amazing. Like, he's like one of the greatest. So both times I've had a delightful, there's nothing like being paid to work in New York City, because New York City is such an expensive city, and it's such an amazing city. But when you get to like go there and go to work and get a paycheck for being in New York City, that's like such a dream.
I agree.
Well, Emma, we should let you eat your dinner.
It's nice and it's cooling. It's nice and cooling. You know, you can't cut into the chicken immediately. You have to give it 10 minutes to rest, ladies. 10 minutes to rest. I'm sure you know that. Yeah. Well, I hope very much someday I can make it to Alaska.
Well, if you do, you definitely have to let the Real Housewives know. We would love to see you.
Oh my gosh, of course. That would be so fun.
So, Emma, tell us again where they can find all of your information. You're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, you have a website. Yes. Give us a plug for everything.
Oh my goodness. So, okay, ready? Okay. So, on Instagram, I'm Emma Bell. I have a little blue check mark, so you'll know it's me. And then on Twitter, I'm Emma Bell 17. Don't ask me why. You can go to my director's website, which is emmabellfilm.com. Or you can go to the Nice Trick campaign, which is nicetrickthemovie.com. So those are my 4 shout out.
Well,
excellent.
You have been amazing.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. This has really been very delightful.
It's been a real pleasure to have a chance to speak with you.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Awesome.
Well, happy Halloween, and thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, what are you guys doing for Halloween? Are you getting dressed up?
Marn, what are you doing?
I am going to be a weird sister from Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Okay, nice. That's the reboot, right?
Yes.
Oh, sweet.
So I am wicked dull. I work in healthcare, and I learned a long time ago working in the ER, you don't dress up on Halloween.
Oh, I always dress up.
I'm sure that's very true.
I loved your costume, by the way. You and your husband went as the Dread Pirate Roberts and Princess Buttercup.
We did.
That's adorable.
It was
I love
fun.
that movie.
Oh my gosh, it's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Emma, I have to ask, do you dress whimsy?
You know what? I
That's
would
her-
love to dress Whimsy as like a little biscuit. And
That's
then
her
just,
dog,
Lather some, but she won't let.
Oh, she won't let you?
Oh, did we lose her?
Oh, no, not into it.
So what kind of dog is Whimsy? You have to tell us that too before we let you go.
Oh, well, she's all over my Instagram if you ever go check it out. But, Whimsy is a Chihuahua mix. She's adorable. She looks like
She looks like a little corgi almost.
She definitely doesn't necessarily look like a Chihuahua, but she's just the cutest thing, and I don't know how she's still alive. And I
Because
also
they're
have,
so cute.
Because I just wanna, I like threaten to murder her every day. But and then I have a very large, my husband brought into the fold, like a really sweet large German Shepherd mix, Brutus.
Oh,
He's 100
wonderful.
pounds. So yeah, the two of them are like the most adorable, amazing babies.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm a lucky dog mom.
We are as well. Both Marn and I are big dog people.
Oh,
Yep.
Good. Oh, good. We can be friends then. I don't Sorry, Tom, if you don't like dogs.
No, I'm not allowed to have a dog. I have lizards in my apartment.
Lizards. So that's cool.
Really?
Yeah, I have 2 geckos.
Geckos. Cute. All right, ladies. Well,
All right.
thank you again.
Have a
Thank you
wonderful
so much,
night.
Emma.
Yes, you as well, and thank you, Tom, for bringing me on.
Yeah.
You're welcome. We'll talk soon.
Mm-hmm.
Take care,
Okay,
Emma.
you guys have a good one.
You too.
you too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, Tom, thank you so much for hooking us up with Emma. She's amazing.
She's lovely.
She really is. She's a sweetheart. She reached out to me. I think it was about a week before Walker Stalker Atlanta, and she sent. And I didn't even think it was her. She sent me a message on Facebook Messenger, and she was asking for my help. Saying I was a big supporter of hers and all this really nice stuff. And we had like an hour-long chat on Facebook Messenger.
And you were like, yeah, and you're a Nigerian prince, and you...
Oh, no, I even said that to... I said, is this really you, or is this like one of your handlers? Or she just laughed, and she's like, no, it's me. And then she started sending me messages on Instagram, and yeah, she's just a really, really down-to-earth, cool person.
You know, those
She
are
is.
exactly the words that came to mind when you were talking about her just now. Is she was very real and very genuine, and that was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was cooking chicken when we were talking to her.
Has to sit for a few minutes, at least 10
Exact-
minutes.
Like I said, if you cannot donate monetarily, like and share the post so that maybe other people can discover the magic that is Emma Bell's project. Nice trick.
And
Yeah, she's so close. She's so close to getting to her funding.
So 8 days and 19 hours left. She needs 9%, which is roughly $4,500. So if you can get the word out to people, that would be great, because if they reach 80% of their monetary goal, they do get to keep the pledges. So absolutely like, share, donate.
And if you're listening to this podcast, like, share, and share again the podcast, so
Yes.
everybody hears it.
We agree.
Comment, give us feedback, whatever.
Review, give a review.
Yeah,
Yep,
a positive
wherever
review,
you-
please.
Wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're the most basic podcast ever.
I'll take
All right,
it.
so we're gonna get into The Walking Dead now.
All right, yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of hard to come down from talking to Emma, but we are actually here to talk about season 10, episode 4, Silence the Whisperers. So, Tom, since you're the guest, why don't you give us your rating first?
All right, my rating is a mouthful here. So. It's 4.35 out of 5 unwelcomed worm-eating whisperers.
Oh, I was wondering if she was going to pop that sucker into her mouth.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to.
what's crazy is I was like, wait, we've seen the walk with the whispers like skinning deer and stuff. They don't have to eat worms. Oh,
But worms are easy.
yeah, I
A lot
guess
of protein.
so.
And they're all over the place.
And of course, like Alpha says, we're all animals.
Ugh.
Yuck.
So what was your guys' rating?
So I actually rated it a little higher. I really liked this episode. I rated it a 4.65 itchy armpits.
Wait a minute. Where'd the itchy armpits rating come from?
That was when Lydia was talking to
about Dad.
Daryl.
Yeah.
Oh.
Her dad didn't like to wear deodorant.
Okay.
It made his armpits itchy.
So I've got to tell you guys, I watched this episode 3 times, and I still missed pieces of the dialogue. So I did not get a great take on the dialogue that Lydia had with Daryl in the infirmary.
You need a
That was
better
one that was
sound
kind of
bar.
hard to hear. I've got a Bose sound bar.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah.
Turn on closed captioning.
I need to do that when I record it. I need to figure out how to do that because I'm getting old, man. Can't hear.
So
Well-
what was your rating?
So my rating was about the same as yours, Tom. It was 4.37 out of 5 stolen kisses.
Ooh.
So I liked it. I thought it was really solid. I would have to say of the 4 that we've seen so far, this is the one that I've liked the least, but it was still great.
Really? This is my second favorite.
Now I have a question about your review of the stolen kiss. Was that Ezekiel and Michonne? Or was
Yeah.
that who was it that was in the 2 women? I forgot their name.
Magna
and Yumiko.
Yumiko.
Yes.
No, it was Ezekiel and Michonne.
Oh, okay.
But, okay, so since we're going there, I thought that the scene between Magna and Yumiko was really beautiful, but there was also part of me that was like, that's Michael Cudlitz's porn dream.
Oh my god.
Okay, but to be fair, it's kind of mine too. It was really beautiful.
To be really fair, it's kind of every guy's.
Right?
They are
Don't
gorgeous.
just play Cudlitz.
Yeah.
Yes. And I actually just got done binging the entire 6 seasons of The 100. And so seeing Magna's character, like she's come so far, but she's still such a strong actress. I love her.
Was she in the 100?
She was. She played a prospective commander named Luna. So she was a very, very strong character, even though she only had, I think, 4 episodes. She dominated the screen. I love her.
Well, I loved that scene with her and Yumiko.
It was beautifully filmed, and they were gorgeous together.
Yes.
So the numbers, again, were kind of a bummer. So the headline at TV by the Numbers today was Watchmen holds, The Walking Dead takes another hit. So they did top Sunday night, but the ratings overall were, 3.31 million live plus same-day views, 1.1 in the 18 to 49 group. It's down from 3.48 million last week.
See, I just don't buy ratings anymore.
No.
To me, it's pointless. That I have the AMC app, and I'll watch it on the AMC app, and that doesn't count towards the ratings.
Well, and that's what
Right.
Marnell's been bringing up is that, there are probably so many people who have the AMC Premiere that they've taken a big hit that way.
They've
Yeah, 'cause
got to
you-
find some way to count that.
And then you have everyone that records it and watch, because Sunday night's a good TV night. You guys don't like sports ball, but there's football. There's football on. There's I think The Watchmen is on.
Yeah, Martin
there's
said
a
that
lot
Watchmen
of
is great.
there's a lot of TV that's on that attracts people. So
Absolutely.
Sunday night, it's a night where people DVR it and will watch it.
Yeah, we've actually talked about that, how Sunday night's a big night for television. And if you are any kind of sports ball fan, you are going to watch that live and you're going to record anything else that you watch on Sunday night. So, and yeah, absolutely the AMC Premiere app. I don't know why they haven't started including that kind of stuff into their ratings, because you would think they have to be able to know how many people, because that's how they pitch their stuff to advertisers. You know, that's how they charge so much for advertising time. So
that's the one thing that I was kind of turned off on the app about, is during Fear, you could watch it on Friday. You watch it 2 nights before. Same thing with Walking Dead. But there were no commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And on The Walking Dead, they stop and you have 2.5 minutes of commercials. Yeah. And then they stop again and you have 2.5 minutes of commercials.
You know, and it's a killer. I mean, there are times that I'm like, oh, God, enough with the commercials already.
Okay, you guys don't record, you don't start watching like 20 minutes behind so you can fast forward through all the commercials?
Well, no, I'm watching it on Friday night.
Right.
On the app, yeah.
With no commercials. Skip. Oh, no. Oh.
They added them. They added them for Walking Dead.
Oh.
That's not cool.
And you can't fast forward through it.
Oh. So I'm looking at, just kind of along the line of our conversation, I'm looking at Live Plus 3 ratings for the October 14th episode, or October 13th, which was Ghosts. And it looks like it went up to 5.18 million with the Live Plus 3. So which
is very respectable.
Right. I still don't think we're getting a real sense. I think you guys are absolutely right.
So you got to figure at least another 1.5 million on the AMC.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at least 7 million.
I'm telling you that we're down from the days of nearly 20 million, and I'm telling you about 13 million people are missing out.
Yeah.
I tried to strike up a conversation with the IT guy at work today, new job, and I was like, so, I'm totally a Walking Dead fan. I know it's so 2010, and he was like, yeah, I watched like the first 5 seasons and then dropped off. And I was like, entitled millennial.
What would Fear do to get 7 million viewers?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or any other cable show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, all right, the title. I'm going to tell you guys I'm not enthralled with the title, and this is why. So it was really confusing. It was Silence the Whisperers, but Silence the Whispers is what was written on the walls, and I believe that was what was written in the comics. So
yeah, I think they just can't spell.
Well, they ran out of space on the door. I don't know about every place else.
That must be what it was. I thought that was confusing, and I thought that it was kind of clunky.
I thought so too, because I wrote down Silence the Whisperers for the title of the episode, and then I crossed it out and Silence the Whisper. Like, yeah, I kept going back and forth because it was 2 different things. I don't know if a lot of people noticed that, but it's kind of...
I mean, I noticed it, but I mean, to me, it means the same thing. I mean, you're silencing the whisperers, but they whisper. So you're silencing the whispers. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of tried to go back and look at some stuff about the comic book and that whole thread tonight, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find a lot about that thread in the comics. And I didn't have time to go back like 30 issues and figure out where exactly it all went.
It's because you were too worried about talking to Emma Bell tonight.
I was totally worried about talking to Emma, and she was so nice. All right. So I won't spend tons of time on writer and director. Our writer we've seen before, it was Geraldine Inoa, and she has written, or Inwa, I'm sure I'm slaughtering it.
I would say Inoa, yeah.
So she's written 3 episodes as the primary writer, including this episode, and she has had 16 episodes as a staff writer. And this is her only writer credit, according to IMDb. And then, of course, our director was Michael Cudlitz.
I know him.
Yeah. It was awesome to see him on Talking Dead.
It was.
And so he is directing another episode for this season, or it sounds like he's already got that in the bank. And then didn't he also say that he is directing an episode for the new series?
Mm-hmm. I did hear that.
I didn't see Talking Dead, so...
I'm pretty sure he said that on Talking.
Yeah, he did. He did. That's really exciting. I cannot believe there is so much out there about the 3rd series, and we still do not have a name.
They're probably copywriting it. Buying the websites.
Did you hear any scuttlebutt about the new series at Walker Stalker?
Nothing.
Huh.
Nothing whatsoever.
That kind of surprises me a little bit.
I mean, I had so much going on at Walker
that's
Stalker, so I didn't take part in a lot of like when we would go out to dinner and stuff. We weren't really talking about stuff like that, but yeah, at the convention itself, I had so much going on. And you were nervous to talk to Emma Bell. I had to get on stage and with 7 cast members in front of 500 or 1,000 people, however many people there were. And we'll talk about that later.
I was going to say, I want to encourage people to stick it through to the end of Biters tonight, because we're going to talk a little bit about your fear panel.
Yes, and I was very fearful.
But it sounds like it went great.
No, it did. It went good.
Well, Martin, just real quick, do you want to tell us about our featured cast member tonight?
So, as we usually do, we try to do the featured cast member that dies in an episode. So, this was Jerry Tubbs, a.k.a. Gloria. I'm sorry, not Gloria. Morgan.
Margot.
Margot, yeah.
So, she's actually coming up in something called The Glorias, which is about Gloria Steinem. So, I'm staring at that, listening to you guys, and completely... not even doing my job, so...
I'm looking at her picture right now, and I can totally see Gloria Steinem in her face.
So, she doesn't actually play Gloria Steinem. She plays a moderator.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
Yeah. But she's been in a ton of stuff that I'm sure that everybody knows. Of course, Into the Badlands, which is another AMC property.
That was one of those shows they tried to force down us, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But she was Diane Hopper in Stranger Things season 1.
Which, you guys, I finally binged the first season of Stranger Things. Finally.
Congratulations.
Because I made the Demogorgon.
Don't talk to me. I didn't like it. So.
I can't say that I was like totally enthralled, but it was okay. I'll probably watch the other seasons that are out. I thought the 80s nostalgia was fun. I mean, the soundtrack was like the soundtrack of my youth. So
exactly. I love it, but I'm actually kind of glad they're ending it with season 4. So it's it's time. So Jerry was also in she had a small role in a underrated show called The Passage. She played Hot Mom number 2. I absolutely love that.
Now that's a zombie property as well, right? Or it's more of an infection story.
Yeah, I would definitely call it more of an infection story than a zombie, because they kind of retain their intelligence, so they're not really like just mindless biting machines. But
I want to know who played Hot Mom number 1.
Well, the episode is You Owe Me a Unicorn.
Oh, right on. I have to admit, I tried to read the novel, and I was like, life is too short to finish books that are not enthralling.
I was going to say you in the book. She was also in a TV web series called Moonbound 24. which you can actually find on Vimeo, and I watched a couple of it. So the storyline behind it is the Earth it's 2024, and the Earth is a dead wasteland, and so this is the last ship leaving for the moon, which we've colonized, and it's basically just an interview with a bunch of random strangers and why they deserve to be on the last ship to the moon. And it's really funny. It's almost like a bunch of starting out actors and actresses kind of doing an improv of a crazy character. So check that out on Vimeo if you can. I actually have not gotten to her webisode yet, so I'm actually probably going to try and watch a lot of that. But she will be out in the TV movie of Moonbound 24. It's completed. It says its release date is 2016, so I don't know what's holding it up, but yeah. So, and like I said, she's also coming out in the movie The Glorias, which also stars Bette Midler and Juliana Moore. So that'll be an interesting one.
Well,
it's
if I had cast it, she would have been Gloria Steinem. So big mistake on their part.
So, and I have to say this, it's funny when I saw her on the show, and I don't know if it's because of the company that she was in, I assumed she was a teenager, and she's not a teenager. So that is absolutely a credit to her that she's absolutely gorgeous. But so she is on Instagram. She's at Jerry Tubbs on Instagram. You can follow her. And she also is an acting teacher. So she, I believe the business is called Drama Inc., but it's Chubbuck acting. And I guess it's a style of acting. Ivana Chubbuck is an acting coach, and it looks like Jerry does a lot of teaching, and she's actually taught at UCLA, the Arts of Acting Studio, and West Hollywood, New York Film Academy, Los Angeles County High School, Georgia State University. So she is actually very big into teaching. So if that is something you are interested in and you can find where she is teaching, I would encourage you to maybe take a class with her, because she has certainly got the acting chops to go with her teaching career. So you can check her out on Instagram, and she posts all of her teaching jobs on there. So yeah, that is our featured cast member, Jerry Tubbs.
I want to put a plug in for people who teach, because I'm part of a nurses group on Facebook, and someone was griping about not getting compensated for precepting people. And I just want to say that people who give of themselves to create other professionals are pretty amazing.
Hear, hear.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of us wouldn't be here without teachers.
Right? And
But
you know,
they
it's
do
not...
they do get summers off, though.
You know,
Not all
it's
of
not
them.
always about the compensation, though, you know? So, I just want to put a plug in before we head into Whisperer's Corner. I got my flu shot today, and I want to encourage people to get their flu shot. Protect the people that you love. We're starting to see influenza B cases, so...
I got mine last week. And I think if you're over 65, you can get like a super flu shot this year. Yeah.
I got mine 3 years ago.
Bad healthcare provider.
Yeah,
Man.
no, I normally get them. I keep forgetting.
So if the zombie apocalypse happens, we know it started with Tom.
I'll take full credit.
Not blame, credit.
All right, so there was not a ton in Whisperer's Corner this week. I'm just going to hit a couple of things real quickly, and then I think we'll talk a little bit about the big thing in Whisperer's Corner that we all are kind of thinking about tonight. So, Walking Dead filming is going to close a road in southwest Atlanta this week. I think it's going to be closed tomorrow. And there was an Atlanta City Council member who actually posted road closure maps on Facebook. So I thought that was interesting. I'm sure it's not the first time that it's happened. Eric Kane said that this episode was another strong episode, but he's not really sure how much longer it can go on with the, quote, rinse repeat scenario. So he is really agitating for an end game to the series as a whole, which I can kind of understand that, but there's part of me that would like it to go on forever.
13 seasons.
Well, and I kind of feel like it will go on for a very long time in the way that Star Trek did. They just kept introducing different iterations. So
Well,
I think we'll probably see that.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
making that prediction right now. The main show will have 13 seasons.
And then it'll get rebooted 5 years later.
Oh, no. Hopefully not.
Well,
Because Fear will still be going.
You think?
Crickets.
So
The new series.
Eric Kane did make a comment, an offhand comment in his article about potentially rebooting the original series as a cartoon, which, I mean, if it had the same quality of graphics that the graphic novels had, I would love that.
No, they would have to do it like South Park.
Right. Or like heavy metal. I'm really aging myself.
Or claymation.
Oh, no.
No! Claymation freaks me out.
Marionettes. That would be cool.
Puppet theater.
All right, so a thing that Phil Parrish brought to our attention today is that there is discussion that Maggie could be back as early as midway through this season.
I thought that's what the plan was.
Me too.
They introduced her at New York Comic Con. I read that they said she was going to be back to being a season regular in season 11. And to me, that means the end of season 10, she's just going to be like a guest star.
Oh, okay.
I feel like my takeaway was she's going to be back this season also, because not only because of just what I read, but we're losing Michonne this season. So I kind of figured they would basically switch out top female characters.
I totally was watching the 4th episode thinking, oh my God, when are we going to lose Michonne? We're getting really close.
I think it was 6 episodes.
That's what I seem to recall too.
But it might not be episode 6 because she might not be in.
My anxiety level just jumped up when you said that.
But I'm pretty sure we'll see Maggie in the second half.
I think so too.
Well, that's definitely what they were making it sound like in the article that Phil forwarded to us.
Or maybe that's how the season will end. Someone will walk into a room and Maggie will be sitting there or something.
Well, they're going to have to put Hilltop back together before Maggie comes back to us.
Maybe she'll put Hilltop back together.
Yeah, poor Ezekiel, man.
Look what you guys done to the place while I was gone.
I can't leave you people anywhere.
Do you know that Hilltop, that building, isn't a real building? It's a facade.
I don't think I knew that.
There's one level where there's actually, where Gregory used to come out onto the balcony. That was real. Everything else wasn't.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
They've done an amazing job.
All right, so the big thing in Whisperer's Corner this week was all of the chaos that's been happening around Walker Stalker. So I was reading yesterday that Kari Payton sent out a tweet basically saying, I'm not going, and listing all of these other actors who are no longer going to Walker Stalkers. And apparently, and the article made it sound like there was a link, but I don't know if that's true. Apparently about 6 hours after he sent out that tweet, sales for Atlanta 2020 were suspended. So, Tom, you have some insight having just gone to a Walker Stalker. It sounds like you had a really good time.
I mean, I had a blast, but there were issues. As for Kari has been very outspoken for a while. Kari and Cooper Andrews have been very outspoken for a while. The one thing when I saw his tweet, he said Norman isn't going. He said so-and-so isn't going, and he tagged them. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, to me, I'd rather hear that from Norman. Why is he speaking for other people? Let Norman say what he wants. Let Melissa say what she wants.
Well, and it might not be because they may have had prior conflicting, things, or they can't go for some other reason. Maybe it's not for the reason that Kari Payton's not going. So,
well, that's not what Kari was making it out to. Kari was making it out to
that it was totally we're boycotting Walker Stalker.
Right.
So I mean, there were some issues in Atlanta. Photo ops mainly was the big issue. There was another issue with interpreters for people with hearing. Impairment.
Mm-hmm. We talked a little about that a week ago, I think.
Yeah, there were issues. I mean, a lot of people had a great time, but I think, I don't even want to speculate, but I know that Cooper has come out and said he's owed money. I think Kari has come out and said he's owed money, and that's their job. If they're not getting paid, then that's wrong.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But as for the whole list, I'm just waiting and seeing. James Frazier stepped down as CEO, and Michael DeVault is now the CEO. And I know Michael is a man of integrity. But, I'm just in the same wait and see type mode as everyone else.
Well, and from what I understand, also a lot of the problems lay with the contractors that they had. It wasn't just Walker Stalker. It was actually the people they had contracted. So sometimes that's a little tough to control. You may be able to predict the work of a contractor by their past, but,
something at a convention like this, and I know from helping to throw the Sonoy Dead Bash, stuff always goes wrong. It's like a wedding. Yep. And multiply the wedding times 1,000 because there's so much going on. Something is always going to go wrong. The photo ops was a major disaster. Mm-hmm. If the photo ops had gone smoothly, I think that people would have a completely different outlook as to how Atlanta was.
And a happy customer will tell one, and an unhappy customer will tell many. So I think there's a lot of people that are talking very loudly on social media, but there are thousands of happy customers out there.
There are, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying people shouldn't be upset if they're owed money or if things happen that ruin their trip, and I would be angry too.
Right.
But the new CEO took over, and it was from the moment he took over, people were trying to pull stuff from his past, saying he did this and he did that, and give the guy a chance. It's only been it was less than 24 hours, and people were attacking him. He had nothing to do with any of this other stuff.
Well, I really hope that the Walker Stalker and the Fan Fest continue, because Dianne and I would love to attend one. We had actually started kind of planning on going to Chicago, so I hope that we do get a chance in the future to go to at least a Walker Stalker, if not a Fan Fest.
I would
Right.
definitely say that, I wish everyone well. I wish James well because, we talked about it a little bit. He and Eric started as fans. They started the Walker Stalker podcast. I remember that from way back in the day, and I loved it. And I thought what they were doing was really funny. So I really, really hope that he is able to recover from this and kind of repair. And I hope that everyone who has been hurt in this comes out good. The other thing is though, I've got to say I'm really going to be cautious about what we plan right now, just because it's such an expensive and crazy proposition to get out of Alaska for anything.
And
Right. Well, that's the way. That's what the problem is. It's hard for people to buy tickets to a show that's 10 months down the road.
Right.
Mhm.
And then if something
and
falls
there's-
through.
Right, there's so many questions. And then you see these tweets from Kari Payton or Cooper Andrews or whoever. And I mean, it's so hard. Like, someone could come in and buy Walker Stalker tomorrow and pay off all the debts and pay off all the actors, pay whatever is owed to anyone, and reorganize it, and it could be beautiful in a month. But you don't know. And
Yeah.
nobody, and it's hard, like you said, it's hard to plan a trip when you just don't know. There's so many wild cards right now.
It's so in flux right now. And I also really feel for the vendors that rely on this kind of thing. Like, I'm sure a lot of the hotels and things like that in Atlanta, were kind of, they put this in their budget for the next year. And now there's so much flux that, I really, really hope that things pick up and get straightened around.
Heck,
Right,
I
I
was
mean-
thinking about Kirk and his posters,
Right, that's what I was, when you started vendors, I was thinking
Yeah.
the vendors of the convention. I'm not worried about the hotel. That hotel is going to be sold out no matter what. But the people that make a living going to these conventions, like Kirk goes to almost every Walker Stalker there is, and he sells his artwork. My friend Scott Spillman, my friend Robin Overton, they go to all of them and they sell their artwork, and that's how they pay their bills. Now they have to find other conventions to go to, and someone like Scott, he's primarily got a lot of Walking Dead. He's got some other stuff, but he makes his money on Walking Dead. And going to another convention is going to be a lot tougher because it's not an all Walking Dead fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I feel for all the vendors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully, like I said, hopefully someone could come in, buy it tomorrow, and a month from now, everything's back to normal and perfect. It's just a matter of, if somebody does that, they have to make sure they win the actors back.
Right.
Which I think could happen, because I think the actors are basically rallying against one person.
So they put a sign out now that says under new management.
Yeah.
Oh, is that their page?
No. I was just thinking of it.
Oh.
Juneau is kind of a small town, even though we're the capital city. And anytime a business kind of fails and somebody else comes in and buys it, the sign goes out under new management.
Right. And people would give it a shot if I think if it was sold and someone came in and was revamping it and paid off all the money that's owed, I think people would flock back to it.
Yeah, or even just wooed back the actors and the vendors and everything, with the understanding that it's new management, and we've learned from the past mistakes of our forebears.
Right.
Yeah.
They would at least have a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we are absolutely rabid as a fan base. Let's face it.
I would agree with that.
So I will tell you both that I did go ahead and click into the Chicago link, and it currently says, we are updating the site with a new branding/layout. Please check back later for updates.
There you go.
Under new management.
There you go. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you, I just bought Walker Stalker.
Thank God. You're finally going to have a place to display all that memorabilia.
I PayPal'd them.
So he's now fundraising for his next tattoo because he's broke from buying Walker Stalker.
My tattoos aren't cheap.
No, they're beautiful.
All right, so back to the show.
Right. So let's talk about our goods, bads, and uglies. Tom, why don't you go first since you're the guest?
All right, I'll give you my good here, which was gonna be my ugly, but I figured one of you might steal it from me. So, mine is Kelly Fleming.
Oh,
Judith.
Great.
She was so amazing in this episode. She is and she's like this in real life. She's the smartest little kid you would ever meet.
I loved when she was on Talking Dead. I know you don't watch Talking Dead, but she is...
I do watch sometimes. I just didn't watch it this week. I saw part of it.
I absolutely love her on the show and in real life, and I have to tell you that was my good, and I'm gonna swear. So 3, 2, 1. Judith is a little ass kicker. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, that scene with Michonne and her killing the walkers, and then they back away,
yes,
and they're in the
side.
same exact pose.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to when I saw the premiere. I saw it at Paley Fest, and then they had a panel afterwards, and Kaylee was there, and someone had asked her about the sword, and she gave this great answer about how the trainer that trained Denai knows how he trained Denai, so that he trained her as if Denai trained her, so that they would look exactly alike.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have a great video actually of her answering that, and she's just like the smartest, nicest kid in the world.
Yeah, she's so well-spoken and astute for someone her age. And not only the scene where they were doing battle with walkers, but the insight that she gave Michonne with her little story about RJ and how, you tire him out and that's how you get him to go to bed, and the whispers are tiring us out. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with your good. It was also my good.
See that? I was going to save it for my ugly, but I knew someone was going to steal it.
And it's good that you didn't. Wah wah.
All right, they're not all winners.
All right, mine was totally not Kaylee Fleming, although I adore her. I loved the visuals in this episode. I thought it was visually very lush, and I feel like Michael Cudlitz is developing a really good eye as a director. Not just the Magna Yumiko scene.
Yeah.
So I really liked the open and the close. I thought the choice of the music was really interesting and kind of linked it together. And the tapestry of the stories, the way the characters were woven together, and once again telling us large swaths of stories and catching us up on people in very little time. I just liked the way it was presented visually to us.
Yeah, the pacing of the episode was great.
Mm-hmm.
And that song in the opening where it's just like the guy whispering in the background. Oh my God, that was perfect.
Yes, it was.
So it's by I don't know if it's a band or an artist, Gordy, and it's called Heaven I Know.
I actually put it on my iPhone. I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, I loved the music in this episode also. Yeah.
Yeah, and I liked, quite honestly, that Michael Cudlitz drew on that tradition of a strong piece of music grounding the episode as well. We've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
The episode ended with that song, right?
It did, yeah. It began and ended with the same song.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I would say I wrote down that I especially love the Daryl with Michonne's family, that portion of the open, and then Luke's parting with Connie in the end. I really liked those two pieces visually, especially.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the terminology for the cut that they did in the beginning, because it's almost like a one shot, but it's not a one shot. It's basically flowing from one character to the other, and I kind of took note of that too, because you know how I'm a fan of the single shot. So when they cut away from Carol and they went to the king and everything, and they followed him, and then he encountered the next character. I love that evolution too.
Yeah, it was
Cudlitz does a good job.
Yeah.
He's got a really good eye. He's really developing his skill as a director. I really like it. All right, Tom, so hit us with your bad.
My bad. I mean, I really liked the episode, so it was hard for me to pick a bad. But to me, in the very open of the show, I was confused as all heck when Ezekiel goes outside. I thought that there was a tree that was on their like it looked like a tree stump was up, like a tree fell over from inside the wall.
Well, and that's kind of what I thought too. I thought it was a little confusing as well.
I was so confused as to what happened. And then I'm assuming, did the tree fall from outside?
So they made it sound like the tree fell from outside, and they were blaming it on Alpha, that they were saying, the attack on Alexandria was a coincidence. The attack on Hillside, but now that we've got an attack potentially evolving at Oceanside as well, it's got to be Alpha.
And where did they were pulling these people that were injured? Did it fall on a house?
Yeah,
it fell on the barn. It fell on the barn.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was kind of confused about the tree falling too, because saying it was the Whisperers, but I mean, like the person on the Talking Dead said, I mean, it would be very apparent if it was sabotage, because the tree would have been cut in. It's not like they could push the tree over or anything. It was a very large tree.
Right, that was a huge tree.
Yeah, so I don't get where they were kind of going with that. I mean, there's been this whole, and Angela Kang made mention of this on one of the Talking Deads, that there's this whole paranoia, and it's kind of like, is it real? Is it imagined? Does it matter? Was the wave of the hordes that attacked Alexandria, was that with the Whisperers, or was this tree the Whisperers, or are the Whisperers at Oceanside? Like, there's this whole paranoia feeling. So I think that was what they were trying for, but it didn't translate this time for me.
Yeah, that was my bad. I was confused. I watched it, I think 2 or 3 times, and I thought it was a tree that fell from inside.
Yeah, no, it was outside, but I'm also still confused. So
it was a little bit clunky.
Yeah.
Well, Marn, what did you? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what were your bads?
So my bad also occurred at Hilltop. The fight scene after the tree came through the wall, and I don't know, maybe the sound alerted the horde of walkers, and they were having to do battle outside the walls because the walkers were building up on the wall that had, that was compromised. And so everyone goes out and they start, killing walkers and everything. And I found it, like, we've talked about this on the show before, how if you just put down a trip hazard, you're gonna take out a whole bunch of walkers. They're gonna trip, they're gonna fall over, you're gonna be able to manage a horde much, much better. And so here they are standing on all of these fallen trees and logs and everything, and I'm like, just kick him down the hill. I'm like, how has no one thought of this strategy yet? Just roll a couple of those logs and it'll be just like bowling. You could even make a game out of it. Like,
just get a bulldozer and make yourself a moat.
Right? Yeah, I mean, they have plenty of people. Like, even if you don't have a bulldozer, there's plenty of people that could be digging, But I feel like for what we saw in episode 1 with their battle techniques.
Oh, good point.
At Oceanside, that I feel like everybody else should have a better plan for when walkers build up on the wall. So that was my bad.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about the relationship between the battle scenes that were so exciting in episode 1 and the battle scene in this. I like that.
They were so synchronized in episode 1, and it was so great. And it was really frustrating this time because we've talked about this. Just put out a trip hazard. You'll be fine.
People from Hilltop were at that battle in episode 1 because that was where we saw Luke make that connection with Jules.
Yep, absolutely.
So they've had that training.
So it was a very hard-pressed bad. It's kind of been my bad before about the whole walkers building up on the fence and everything. So like I said, this is my second highest rated episode. I loved this episode. So it's a minor thing, but it's still, I'm like, you're 10, 11 years in, just trip hazards. Just trip them. I mean, even Alicia figured that one out last season in Fear the Walking Dead. So... yeah, that was my bad. Di, what was yours?
Well, mine was pretty big. More than anything because I felt like it was not entirely consistent. Why does Aaron let Margot, Gage, and Alfred torment Lydia? I mean, I don't buy it, and I wrote down 3 reasons I don't buy it. First, it's out of character for him. Even with the way that he has changed, his background is that he was an aid worker with an NGO. So I can't see him letting people bully someone who's weak. The other thing is he's the adult. It's kind of his job to be coming to Lydia's aid and protecting her. She's still a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that as a leader, it's not good for the whole when you're letting that kind of dissension happen between the people who are in the ranks. So I kind of felt like there were several different reasons that it was not consistent for me that Aaron would let them get away with bullying Lydia the way that they were.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I can see it only because of that chat he had with Michonne when he said, "I'm sick of being the nice guy. And he's gone through so much, losing Jesus and Eric and Tara and all these people. I think he's just snapped. He's walking around with a mace attached to his hand."
Okay, fair.
Well, and didn't he call them out? He basically was like, "Hey guys, stop it."
No, he didn't say, "Hey, stop it." He was kind of like, "Okay, let's get back to what we were doing." But it wasn't like a direct call out. Don't torment the teenager. Let's get refocused.
Yeah. Well, so I think it was Entertainment Weekly. I read an article where it talked about how there really is, since Tara and Jesus are gone, there is no de facto leadership in Hilltop right now. Alexandria has this council, but Hilltop is kind of floundering between having, maybe Daryl sometimes is in charge, maybe sometimes Aaron is in charge, Michonne comes and goes, the leadership really is floundering in Hilltop. So I think the guy's under a lot of pressure. So, but I get what you're saying. I had not noticed that, but that's a good thing to point out. Like, that's out of character for him to let the bullying continue.
And again, just to let a kid be tortured like that.
Yeah.
Although I understand that kids are growing up really fast in the ZA,
Well, and who knows? He may have a little bit of angst against Lydia because, he lost people too to the Whisperers. So
Well, Jesus was killed by a whisperer.
Right. He was.
yeah, yeah. So maybe he kind of sympathizes with the bullies.
I don't like that in my Aaron. All right, Tom, take it away with your ugly.
My ugly was the scene with Daryl and Negan in the jail cell.
Okay.
I thought that was brilliant. Especially, I mean, I don't know if you guys caught this, but when Negan said to Daryl something along the lines of, she was an adult beating on a kid, the world's a better place without her.
Yeah.
Remember that Daryl used to be beaten by his father.
Yeah.
So he was tugging at Daryl there.
Yeah. And bullied by his brother.
Right, and that whole conversation I thought was brilliant. Because you could see that Daryl was torn, because Daryl knew that Negan helped Lydia.
Yeah.
Lydia had told him. He knew as soon as he went in there. He knew, and he didn't know what to do. Because he wants to hate Negan, but now he's seeing... Now, this is the second time. First, Aaron was saved by Negan. Now, Lydia's saved by Negan. I mean, they're really coming across a point where they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Coming from Daryl's perspective, you have to kind of remember that, Negan was his torturer, and now it's kind of like,
good point. I totally forgot that.
Has this guy turned over a new leaf, or is he playing us? Yeah.
And then Negan even says to Daryl, you let me out to do some stuff just so that you can take it away and torture me.
Sorry, we're torturing dogs right now. Glad this didn't happen while Emma was on.
That sounds like me at karaoke.
Well, what I was going to say before we were so soulfully interrupted, I thought it was really interesting that Michonne requested that Daryl be her proxy, but she did not tell him how to vote.
Yeah, she said, I know you'll do the right thing. Yeah.
I'm just curious, how was the voting? Because they said it's a tie.
So Gabe was the tiebreaker, and this was on the entertainmentweekly.com, the EW.com article where...
So was it Sadiq, Daryl, Michonne, or Nose?
I think Michonne was the no, and Daryl was the proxy. I don't think he's actually on the council.
No, but Tom is trying to figure out who voted.
Oh, Daryl. Oh, Daryl wasn't on. I assumed Daryl was on the council.
He was Michonne's proxy.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he counted for two. Oh, okay.
So I have to tell you that I actually changed my ugly 3 times, and one of my uglies was Gabe, yes or no. And the article on EW.com said that Gabe was a no. That was the idea behind it, is he was a no. So no, we are not going to basically punish Negan for killing. I don't want to say Morgan.
No.
Margot. We're not going to punish him for killing Margot because it was basically kind of in self-defense of Lydia, and it was an accident. So, yeah.
So who were the other members voting though? That's what I was trying to figure out. Sadiq was obviously a no. Michonne was a no.
Aaron was a yes. I think Aaron was a yes because he said Negan's broken.
Right. Who else was on the council though?
Isn't Laura, Lindsley Register's character, on the council?
I don't know. I didn't see anyone else there. It confused me a little, but Father Gabriel never actually gave his answer.
Correct. He was basically like,
assumed-
let's all go sleep on it.
Right.
Yeah, and then he went to talk to Negan.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who is all on the council that voted no. I can't picture it.
Well, now I'm going to have to go back and watch the fourth time.
Right?
Well, it doesn't matter. Negan's gone.
Good point.
Right?
So screw their voting. But who let Negan out?
Thank you.
So-
That was almost my ugly, but not quite.
So that actually became my ugly.
Ah.
So, like I said, I changed my ugly 3 times, and I finally wound up on actually the play between Negan and Lydia this episode. I think back to the episodes in season 9 where we saw her in the shelter with her dad and her mom, and how her mom had kind of brainwashed her into thinking her dad was this terrible person and her dad was the abuser, and really it was the other way around. She had been gaslit, and her mom was terrible, and her dad was also a victim of Alpha's bullying and her basically domestic abuse. And this episode, she kind of was reaching out for a fatherly figure and found that in Negan. And this has really been the second time that, Negan has connected with a young woman or a child, because she and Negan and Judith had kind of a relationship prior to this. And so he apparently, like, PE teachers are really good with kids. Former PE teachers turned murderers. But so I loved all of the scenes between Negan and Lydia this episode. It's so hard not to buy into Negan's a good guy now, and I'm still so on the fence because, you remember Lucille, and you remember Glenn, and you remember Abraham, and it's so hard for me to buy it, but I really, really want to buy that he has turned over a new leaf, and that he will become a protector for Alexandria and everybody. So, yeah. That actually became my good ugly was Negan and Lydia this episode.
The funny thing about watching Lydia, to me, and it's because I've met her so many times, seeing her so calm on the screen blows my mind. Because if you ever met this girl in person, she is bouncing off of walls.
She does
24/7.
Yeah, she has a very exuberant personality. She was on The Talking Dead.
She was adorable on The Talking Dead.
That doesn't even come close to what you would see if you met this girl. The first time I was on her line to meet her, she was bouncing around so much. She had to take her name tag off because it kept hitting her in the face. And we were getting tired in line watching her, and I turned to the guy in front of me. I'm like, thank God nobody brings a baby up there. Then a minute later, someone wheels a baby, and she reaches down, she grabs the baby. The girl hugged me like 6 times when I met her. She's the nicest, sweetest person in the world, but she is so... And then I was with the Mark Lintz and Matt Lintz at a convention, and I turned to Matt, and I'm like, Matt, I have to ask you, Cassidy. And before I could even ask the question, he looked at me, he's like, she's like that all the time. And then Matt's father joined in and said, once the director says action, she's calm.
Really?
Yeah, he says the minute they say action, she's calm. Other than that, she's bouncing around. Like, you could see a little bit of it on Talking Dead, but that's just a tiny bit.
What a great professional. Like, if she can tamp that down and become so subdued like she is as Lydia, then
yeah, I'm telling you, go on YouTube and search for like Cassidy McClincy, meeting Cassidy McClincy or something. You'll see videos where you will not believe Don't ever bring the girl a Red Bull.
Oh, if only I had half that energy.
Oh, no kidding.
So, Lydia and Negan were my good ugly. Die. What was your ugly?
So my ugly was also good, and it was that there were two themes that kept getting repeated throughout the episode that I thought it was very cool. So one was bullying, and it was the whole idea of bullies that we can tolerate and bullies that we need to fight back against.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, Negan as a bully, and kind of that nebulous, who is he now? Obviously the Whisperers, and then Margot and her group. And then also masks were mentioned repeatedly. Yes. Ezekiel and Michonne talked about it. Lydia talks about being betrayed by the masks that the Alexandrians wore and kind of faked her into buying into their community.
Yep.
I really thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad that neither one of you was able to work the word juxtaposition into that.
We throw that in every once in a while.
I know. I thought that was coming.
That's funny. So, are we into rotting potpourri, guys?
I think we're into rotting potpourri.
Yeah, I have two pages.
We're keeping Tom past his bedtime, so
I know this is going to be a banner episode.
It is.
I'm always up late.
Listeners may have to listen to this in two parts.
Right.
So here's a good ending spot, and go. Oh, so the kiss we've all been waiting for.
It was a good head fake, is what I wrote in my notes.
And I love that they mentioned, in another universe.
I felt like that was their nod and Cudlett's nod to how things actually went down in the comic books.
Yep, I did too.
Well, she did kiss him back. I watched that on the second viewing.
Yes.
I was wondering if she didn't, if she was just taken by surprise, but she kissed back.
And I loved her line about not having kissed anyone who was over 4 feet tall in the last 6 years.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, that was an interesting scene. I can't. I mean, until he went through everything that he has lost, I couldn't imagine him jumping off a bridge that way. It seemed so out of character until the two of them talked about everything that they had lost. So I really liked that scene because I tend to forget that, these people have real lives other than real lives in the show, other than, just battling zombies. They've lost children, they've lost society's broken down, they've lost, their home, they've lost family, they've lost friends, and it's, I'm sure there's some really dark moments for them. And, Michonne had been there, so of all people to see him in that state, I think she was probably the best one to talk him off that ledge. Did I get a little too serious for you guys?
That was very, very serious. I'm not used to this seriousness.
I got very serious last episode too. So you guys can bring me up. Yeah.
I have to look at my notes.
So what are they building to with Siddiq's PTSD? There's something larger at play because they keep referring to it. What's going to happen with that?
See, I mean, I don't know if I've messaged you guys about this or what, but I'm under the theory that I think Siddiq helped Alpha kill the 10 people on the Pikes.
Okay.
I think that she wanted Rosita and he didn't want Rosita, so he said, I will get the people into the barn for you if you spare her.
Okay,
Wow,
so
that gave me
one of-
chills. That is so messed up.
One of our other listeners thinks that Sadiq is also the insider for the Whisperers.
Yeah, so you're getting into listener feedback. We'll talk about that. Actually,
We'll talk
no,
about
I thought
that.
she said
Yeah.
she thought Dante was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She
Yes,
said she
Dante.
thought Dante was.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you guys, too, who let Negan out of the cell?
Okay.
My guess was Sadiq.
So I read an article that suggested Carol.
Oh wow. I know that Lydia took the blame for it, but Daryl was like, I was with her the whole night. It wasn't her. So, and the articles that I did read said that it was not her. So I wonder if they're going to go the same way the comic books did.
I don't remember who let him out in the comic books.
Do you want a spoiler?
The series, the comic book series is over. I think that's fair.
And yep. It's so far, we're so far off book in a lot of places that
wasn't it like one of the kids?
Yeah, it was just some random kid that hated Rick and wanted the Whisperers
who was
to
part of the Silence the Whispers campaign.
Yep. So
unless it's one of the Gage or one of those.
Yeah.
Why would they let him out when he killed their friend, though?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing Sadiq.
Well, was it really his friend, or was he just acting? Is he a former savior?
Let's just blame everything on Sadiq.
Poor Sadiq.
He got Carl killed.
He got Rosita knocked up.
He knocked up Rosita. He brought the 10 people to be beheaded. I think he had something to do with Kennedy's assassination.
I thought that was Ted Cruz's dad. Bad politics joke.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know who. My guess was Sadiq let him out, but
that would be an interesting twist. But yeah, they keep coming back to his PTSD, and other than I don't know, just the anxiety, building up the anxiety about the Whispers, I can't imagine why they would keep referring to it if it's not building to something larger.
Do you?
Although actually,
now,
go ahead. No, now that I'm just thinking about this, back to the whole letting Negan out, in the preview for next week, there is some rando kid that was running after Negan that meets up with him.
Right.
So maybe that is.
Oh, you're right.
Yep. And Negan kind of had a smile on his face, like they were buds or something. So, or he knew the kid as doing him a favor. So maybe he was the one that let him out.
Maybe he was his gym teacher.
Oh.
So I have a quick question about the title card. I was looking for changes again, and I'm probably overthinking this, but is the backpack on the walker as they turn and show the back of the walker at the end, is that a new detail?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh, I didn't even pay attention to that.
Interesting.
And what does it represent?
Yeah, I don't know.
What was it they added?
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's new. Like I said, I'm probably overthinking because I'm always kind of trying to figure out what's new about the title card. But I think they kind of pan, they focus in on the walker's eye and then they pan out and kind of pan around to the back of the walker. And this time I noticed a backpack on his back, and I've never noticed that before on the main walker, who's kind of the center of the three that they show.
Right. Huh.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I'd have to watch it.
So the other difference that I noticed, I actually went back and watched last season's title card, And when the tree in the beginning kind of explodes with leaves, last season it was the leaves were green, and this season the leaves are black, and they kind of flash red like they're on fire. So they're definitely changing the title card, but it's so subtle that I hadn't even noticed the backpack.
But now they're not changing it each episode though, right?
They are. So the very first episode did not have the crashed satellite in it, and the second episode did.
Huh.
Oh, so I am watching the title card right now, and that does kind of look like a backpack on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will. I'll have to go back and rewatch the other title cards. Because, I had mentioned, I think, in one of the previous episodes that you can tell that one of the walkers in that scene is now a whisperer because there's a seam up the back of the head.
Oh, right. Maybe that's the significance of the backpack, too.
Yeah. Is it a backpack or is it a baby carrier?
Right. Well, what else you guys got for Whisperer's part?
Cockroaches!
Oh.
That little flash between Eugene and Luke, and I loved what Josh McDermott had to say on The Talking Dead about it. He elaborated a lot on it in that, Eugene has gone through this big emotional upheaval with his confrontation with Rosita, and he's kind of questioning himself and everything, and now he's kind of got somebody that maybe is on his level a little bit, or somebody maybe he can look up to that's kind of like him, but has this other romantic interest that he's pursuing. And I don't know, I think there's a buddy comedy in there somewhere.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down myself. I noticed Eugene totally avoiding going back to Rosita.
Yeah.
He wanted to stay and fix the wall. It's just his way of avoiding seeing her.
It was a very convenient out for him. Yeah. I actually wrote that down too, that it was a convenient way for him rebuilding the wall was a convenient way for him not to go back to Alexandria. So
the other thing I noticed with not just this episode, but for most of the episodes, they've been very dark. Like not dark as in mean or evil. Dark as in like film dark.
Yes. Like
that fight scene, it's very cinematic. That fight scene with Magna and Connie and Kelly and everyone outside, it looked very movie-like, but I was actually scared. Like I thought we were losing somebody.
Magna, when she kind of tried to stay behind, I thought we were going to lose her this episode. Yeah.
Like it's been a while since I've actually been worried about, because usually AMC will spoil it the week before, but I was actually scared. And then when the car was leaving, or the horse and car were leaving with Michonne and Luke and Judith, Luke was standing up on the back seat of that car, like waving goodbye. I thought for sure he was going to be shot or something was going to happen to him.
They really telegraphed losing Luke, though, didn't they?
It just looked like it. I thought for sure he was a goner this episode.
Well, he does have a love interest, and we know that that's almost the kiss of death. That and being the moral compass.
Well, hey, so does Magna.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, you caught the little "you're not my lawyer anymore."
Yes. Right. That was an interesting little tidbit of a backstory.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And I think in the EW article that I read, Angela Kang said that would be revisited this season.
Sleeping with your client.
Right?
Well, she's not her lawyer anymore.
Well, not anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, that was pretty much all I had.
Well,
Speaking of Magna, what is her problem?
yeah, I didn't get that either. I kind of didn't understand the whole I'm going to be really pissy with you all of a sudden now, Yumiko.
Right. She, just for basically taking her out of the battle when it was a losing battle.
No,
you know?
I don't think it was that. I think right after I'm assuming after they slept together, she was at the window and she was just staring over at her in bed, and something clicked on her. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't.
You're right. They did make a point to put that in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she just realized they're not right for it. I don't know, and she's trying to cause a fight to end it. Who knows? Women are from Mars.
That is so true.
Yeah, that's really all that I had. I think between the three of us, we addressed just about everything.
Well,
Did you guys have any more?
No, but now we need to talk to Tom about his fear panel.
Yes.
My fear panel. It was pretty freaking amazing, to be honest. I was extremely nervous. There was probably, honestly, I couldn't even tell you how many people were in the audience because I never looked out at the audience. Once I introduced the cast and they came on stage, I was either looking at the cast or I was looking at the microphone where someone may have been asking a question. But I mean, the cast was so great. I went to them the day, but the panel was on Sunday afternoon, and I had gone to them either Friday or Saturday, and I had gifts for every of the panel members, and I just introduced myself. If they didn't know me, I introduced myself, and they were so, like, I told them I was a little nervous, whatever, and they were so welcoming and so calming. And I mean, especially Jenna, when we were backstage before it started, and it was just me and Austin Emilio, and Austin said to me, he's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just a little nervous." And he's like, "Oh," he's like, don't be nervous. We're just a bunch of jokesters or something." And then when everyone got back there, Jenna pulled me aside and gave me some nice advice and relaxed me a little bit. And I mean, the panel, while I'm sitting up there, I'm in awe sitting up there, and I'm thinking that it's like going awkwardly or there's silence or all this. Everyone afterwards told me it was one of their favorite panels of the weekend. Said everything went smooth and the questions were great. And so I mean, I don't even know what I could possibly say.
Did you do your idea with the boxes?
I did do my idea with the boxes. We actually had to only have one microphone for audience questions because we had so many panel members. So I had two boxes that I opened up and I wrote on them, what was it? Take what you need, leave what you don't.
Aww.
And then I filled the boxes up. They had like little Walking Dead merchandise or whatever inside, so that after you asked a question, you could take something out of the box. And there was one adorable little girl. I think her mom told me I think she was like 9, but she came up to the mic and she's like, "I brought Werther's for all of you."
Oh.
And she asked this question, and she was really cute, and she gave, like, Austin Emilio's her favorite, so she came over and Austin went down and she gave him all these Werther's, and Austin shared them with everyone on stage. But after the panel was over, I was taking the boxes back, and I was going to put them on their tables, like their autograph tables, so that people could take stuff. And I looked in the one box, and there was like 3 Werthers in there. So she not only took something out that she wanted, but she left the Werthers for people.
Oh, that is so cute.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, she was really cute. But I mean, the panel, it was about an hour long. It went so incredibly well. I mean, I've watched it since, because I have video of it.
And to reiterate, you posted a link to Biters.
I'm pretty sure I did. I also
Okay.
just uploaded it to YouTube.
Cool.
It's not the greatest audio or the greatest video, but you can see what's going on. But it went. I mean, I was so nervous, and I'm not gonna lie, I did a shot of Fireball about 10 minutes before I was going on stage. But it just went so great. They were so well. And then after I asked I introduced them all, and I asked my very first question, and they all looked at each other, and Jenna said, "That's a great question, Thomas." And that right then, I felt so much at ease, because it's like you sit up there and you're wondering, why am I here? Why am I doing this? But they all told me they had a great time, and I think I chatted with Maggie Grace on like the Tuesday afterwards, and she said it was great and thank you and all this stuff.
So who all was on the panel?
We had Maggie Grace, who's Althea, Alexa Nisenson, who's Charlie, Jenna Elfman, who's June. Oh, I introduced her as Mrs. June Dory. Then we had Garrett Dillahunt, who's John Dory, obviously, and Austin Emilio, who's Dwight, and Cooper Dobson, who played, Dylan. He was one of the little kid.
That's right.
With the
The
glasses.
little kid. Yes.
Yep. The
And
Little Prince.
Yes, and his brother is Major Dobson, who played Sam on The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Mom.
Exactly. So we had those 7 people, and I mean, it was kind of a dream come true. After it was over, Jenna called everyone over and was like, "We need a group picture with Tom," and so we got some nice group pictures on stage, and everybody had a good time.
It is so fun to live vicariously through you. You have one of the most amazing lives.
Well,
I just
this past weekend in New Jersey, I went to Once Upon a Con. It's basically a con for whoever watches
right.
Once Upon a Time. I've never seen that show.
But there's a lot of characters from AMC that have been on the show.
Well, Karen David plays Grace. She was Jasmine on Once Upon a Time, and she was there. So I went specifically just to see her, and she could not have been nicer. She knew me right away as soon as she saw me, and then I have this little SWAT vehicle that my friend made. That's all 3D printed, and it's an exact replica of the one from the show. So I brought it to have her sign, and I put it on the table, and she's like, "Oh my God, I was just showing people pictures of this. I was hoping you would bring this." And I was talking to her, and she's like, she said this, she's like, "Jenna talks about you all the time on the set." And I'm like, "Oh my God, she does not."
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was just like, we were all buddies. I mean, she was so friendly. And then she says to me, "Oh, I was watching your documentary."
Oh.
And I'm thinking, I'm like, "What doc?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're watching the superfan thing." She's like, "Yeah." And so I left, and I was putting my little SWAT truck in the box, and I hear her, and I look up, and she's pointing at me and stuff, and then she looks over at me, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm just telling these people all about you." I'm like, "Oh
So
my God."
great.
Tom is the celebrity for celebs.
No, she is just the nicest person. Like, she mailed me, she got a hat at South by Southwest. They gave all the cast members a special Fear the Walking Dead hat. And she signed it and mailed it to me. And she put a full page letter in it, which was one of the nicest letters I've ever read. Yeah, so.
I think I saw that on your Facebook page or on your Instagram or.
Yeah, I didn't post the letter, but I posted
the hat.
I posted the hat, and I posted the front of the letter because I thought that was cute because she's British and she wrote Sir Tom. So.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's been a hectic couple weeks.
No kidding.
Hectic in a good way, though.
Yeah, and then possibly Rhode Island Comic-Con this weekend.
Oh my God. See, if Walker Stalker doesn't bounce back, you'll have to let us know what con we need to go to.
If Walker Stalker doesn't bounce back, maybe there'll be a Tom Con somewhere.
That's right, you did buy Walker Stalker. You're just rebranding it, as they said on the website.
Yes, it's going to be Tom Con. But yeah, so that was pretty much my last couple weeks. Kind of dreamy.
No doubt, man.
Wow.
Well, I agree with Marnell. The vicarious Thomas O'Mara experience is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to figure out a way to charge for that.
Well, I'm going to pay you in
Patreon.
Alaskan beer t-shirts.
Yeah.
I just want to be in your will.
What do you want? You want something fear related or Walking Dead related?
Doesn't matter.
I know which answer would be. So.
No, I would take anything from Alicia Debnah Carey.
Honestly, I don't have much from her. I've only met her. Oh, I met her once at the premiere, and I met her once at Walker Stalker last year.
Oh, just twice.
Yeah, I think I only have one thing signed by her.
I was gonna say that's one more thing than we have.
All right, I'll have to will that to you.
Okay. All right. Now I just have to make sure that I outlive you.
Well, at this pace with the Jamesons, that might be easy for you.
I don't know. I'm pacing you on the wine.
All right.
Yeah.
Am I the only sober one on this podcast right now?
I'm 100% sober.
I'm never 100% sober.
Well, you live in Alaska. You have nothing better to do.
Right? Like Bailey's in the coffee. It'd warm you right up.
So, Di, is there any listener feedback?
There's a little bit. So Diane LaSorsa said, "Hi, ladies. Have to say, I'm loving the new season. Last episode was good. Loved the Lydia Negan storyline. Love the way some characters are fighting some inner demons. Cannot wait to see what happens." And then we have feedback from someone who's never left us feedback before, which I was really excited about. Mary Kay Lewis. Hi, Mary Kay. Is it Mary Kay or Mary? Hello? She said, "I think Dante is the spy. Sadiq and his PTSD is triggered with Dante's mouth like he recognizes it from the pike that night." Which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, I like that theory.
Where has Dante come from? He's like a plant to watch out for Sadiq. What do you think? I love the show.
That is interesting for that one time. But Sadiq in this last episode had that, and I don't remember seeing Dante there.
We saw him in the crowd a couple of times.
But where did Dante come from? I mean, he just really came out of nowhere this season. So, yeah, where's this doctor been all this time? And now we have somebody who's trying to cozy up to Sadiq.
Yeah, but the thing I would say with that is, if he's really a doctor, would they let him leave? Wouldn't the Whisperers want a doctor in case they need him?
Okay, that's a fair point.
I don't know if I would use a doctor as a spy.
I don't know.
You use that annoying sister of Gamma. let her be a spy.
Yeah, you would think somebody who wouldn't draw that much attention. So I don't know. It really could go either way. Because we're so off book at this point that we may not be.
I still think it's Sadiq. Sadiq, because somebody's giving them information, and it's got to be someone inside.
Agreed.
I like the theory that Sadiq actually rounded everybody up and was responsible for them being put on pikes.
To save Rosita. Because remember, Rosita gets it in the comic. Spoiler alert.
Well, and spoiler alert, Selena, the series is coming up, so Rosita is apparently going to get it in the series as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
Somehow. Although from what I've heard there's going to be a lot of deaths coming up.
I'm kind of good with that, and I'm dreading it all at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know who they are, but I kind of heard through the grapevine that there's a lot of death coming.
Not like we haven't dealt with that before with 10 heads on spikes.
Yeah, but out of those 10, how many did you really care about?
Right.
Like 4,
maybe 2? 4?
Well,
Wow.
Henry, Enid,
Tara.
Tammy
Rose.
Oh, see, I was just thinking Enid and Tara.
Yeah.
I mean, Henry a little bit. But...
Henry because it's torn the King and Carol apart.
And Frankie only because I know her now.
Oh,
in real
right.
life.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So we'll see.
Yeah. We still got quite a season ahead of us.
We're only 4 episodes in.
Yeah, we're only halfway through with the first half.
Yeah.
Wow. Exciting stuff.
It's just so good, though.
It is. Agreed. Well, I think that's all that I have.
Yes, and I am going to make sure I edit tonight so we can get Emma's interview up and running.
Yes, and thank you, Emma, if you're
Yes,
listening.
thank
Yes,
you.
thank you so much. Please support her project.
And if you can't, like everyone said, if you can't financially support, share it or tell your friends. Let's get her to the
At least
goal she
80%.
has.
Yeah.
I forgot what her goal was, but she's almost at 80%. So
The goal is 50,000 and she's just over 35. So, if we can make it 80% in 8 more days, that would guarantee them all the pledges. So,
and if you go to that link, if you go to that website, there's a lot of cool perks she has on there.
Yeah. So for the $50 perk, we will actually get to stream it before anybody else sees it. So, and plus we will also get all of the perks in the under $50.
Right.
Yeah.
You get them all accumulating.
Yeah. So.
Well, there you go, and you guys made a new housewife.
I couldn't resist.
And we have kept the housewife up very late.
Yes.
It's 10 after 1 by me.
No, we're talking
that's
about
the
you.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the new housewife.
No. You guys made Emma a housewife.
No,
not
we
me.
made you the housewife.
Yeah.
I don't remember being made a housewife.
You gotta listen, man.
I'm gonna have to listen now.
We were all starstruck by Emma. She was so lovely and gracious.
Yep.
Yeah, she is. She's so down to earth and nice. So
Yeah.
everyone go support it. Nice trick. No, I'm gonna
Nice
screw
Trick
up.
the Movie.
Nice trick the movie.
Yep.
NiceTrickTheMovie.com.
Yep. So I think with that, We are at the end of our, 2 hours?
Oh, God, at least.
Well, it might be a little less. There was a little break.
It's going to be right around 2 hours.
Yep.
Oh, all right,
Yep.
great.
So, Tom, you remember how we end the show?
Oh God, no.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Until next time, everybody, just
Just
remember.
See, I screwed it up already.
Take it one dead day
at a
at a
time.
time. Ooh, Tom and I were on.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks a lot.
We were on like Magna and Unico. Thank you, Emma.
And on that note, have a great week, everybody.
Happy Halloween. Have a great
happy
week.
Halloween.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.